Video games, video games, video games. You play them, but people have been asking, what if you don't have to play them? For decades people have been adapting them into other mediums. Well, we're going to focus in on the movie and TV adaptations, with the perception being most of them are bad. But with the recent release of The Last of Us, people have been saying finally a good adaptation. But of course that's not the whole story. So, what are the good video game adaptations? Well, in my opinion. Oh yeah, call to action. Like, subscribe, and all those things.
NANI?! So why'd you leave Boston?
I've been on quite the adventure, little brother.
I reckon it's got something to do with that girl.
It's got everything to do with that little girl.
Well, first, let's talk about The Last of Us, which is currently airing its TV adaptation as I make this video, and is what has spurred on this discussion. But as I'm making this video, it's not over yet. So I won't speak much on the subject, but in short, so far it's a good show and adaptation of the source material, as one might expect from an HBO show from the mind behind the Chernobyl miniseries. So next I want to go all the way back to 1985 to Mortal Kombat.
It has begun!
Mortal Kombat is not what one would call high art, but is the first adaptation to capture the spirit of the game it was adapting. Mortal Kombat was perfectly suited to a silly B-movie martial arts film. So that's what we got. The only thing it's lacking is the top core, due to its PG-13 rating. If you need some of that, maybe check out the 2021 reboot. Next, let's speed over to Sonic, which has had a ton of adaptations. Many of which are actually pretty good, but which one am I going to talk about? Is it one of the many TV shows, or the two big budget movies? Now I want to talk about the Sonic the Hedgehog 1996 OVA, or original video animation. For those who don't know, the plot is pretty simple. Sonic's on the beach, has to rescue the president's daughter. Sonic and Powers go to Robotopolis to rescue her. Sonic fights Metal Sonic in a cool Dragon Ball Z style battle. What more could you want from a Sonic film? I watched this on YouTube for the first time well over a decade after its original release. I was really glad I got around to watching it. Also, they gave Knuckles a cool hat. So hey, I made a video about Sonic last year, so go check it out if you want to see me talk about the blue blur. Link in the description down there, or maybe the Sonic's leg structure to point. Well, actually, there'll be a little annotation thing there. But transition. Let's talk about another video game franchise with a lot of media. Yep, it's Pokemon. Pokemon, go watch all those TV shows, and however many films they've released. At this point in time, I've only really seen a small percentage of what Pokemon adaptations have to offer, but the OG series is a pretty good adaptation for what it was trying to achieve. But I want to talk about Detective Pikachu, which is a very loose adaptation of the game with the same name. The film takes the idea of Pikachu Detective to make a unique spin on the Pokemon franchise. The film is really visually interesting with its neon aesthetic, wrapped in a little fun mystery. Now from a franchise with a lot of adaptations, to a genre with a lot of adaptations. The visual novel. Visual novels had a lot of good adaptations, from the likes of Clannad, Higurashi, Steins Gate to name a few, with the majority of gameplay being talking heads. It means the writing has to be pretty good in these games to carry them. This makes a good basis for an adaptation. Also, because these games are just talking heads, it gives a lot of room for things like direction when they are being adapted. It's time to perform a heat action, as I want to take a look at Yakuza Like a Dragon. The 2007 adaptation for the first Yakuza game, directed by prolific director Takeshi Miike. This is a very fun yet chaotic adaptation. If you never played the game, you might struggle to follow what is happening at times, but it does capture the spirit of the games. and has some fun action. Also, Majima, just being Majima, will delight the fans. But if you never played a Yakuza game before, you should still find an over-the-top crime story with a satirical edge. The last adaptation I'll take a look at is Castlevania, which is a loose adaptation of Castlevania 3 and Castlevania Curse of Darkness. Castlevania is a hell of an adaptation, with a lot of room to spread its wings, especially since it's adapting an NES game, which gives the show a lot of room to freely expand, but it still uses a lot of recognisable aspects from the franchise. It's also a great dark fantasy action show, in its own right, without needing to play the games to enjoy it. The whole series is over now, so it's worth a look. If you want some violent vampire action, give it a go. Well, that was a sample of some of the good video game adaptations. Well, in my opinion. So why steal the bad rap for video game adaptations? Even though there have been successful adaptations for years now. Well, historically, most adaptations are mediocre at best and terrible at worst. There also have been a lot of very big adaptations that have come up short, especially when it comes to big Hollywood adaptations. If you think of one good video game adaptation, you could probably think of 4 bad ones to counteract that. But things are looking up over the past few years, as there have been a lot of high-profile successes when it comes to adaptations. So things are looking up, with stuff like Mario, which will probably be quite successful. Also, there are a lot of high-profile adaptations in production, for both the TV and movie world. So the winds are changing. But still, them being high-profile doesn't mean it won't be bad. Were there any video game adaptations I didn't mention, and should? Or should I do a video about some of the worst video game adaptations? Maybe I should look at some of the best movie and TV adaptations to video games. Leave me a comment about any of that if you want to see it in the future. So, another video in the books or on the slate or in the pile of videos I've made. There'll be a recommended video somewhere here and a description somewhere on the screen. I'm just going to show you when that happens for a while until the video's over. Look at my nostril, look at my nostril.